All right, so hopefully we know the first two. A central angle, it's kind of in the title, the vertex is at the center. When I go to draw my angle, the vertex is at the center. Maybe I'll draw this one today. Sometimes I put an X where my angle is. That angle creates this arc. What do we know about this angle and this arc? They're the same. The angle equals the arc. The angle is 71 degrees. The arc is 71 degrees. Inscribed angle. The vertex is on the circle. So maybe I'll draw this angle. It doesn't have to go through the center. I could draw that one if I want. Does this angle equal that arc? No. What's the formula here? This angle equals, yell it out, half the arc. We're going to learn one more today, and then we have one left. Then we have some review days and a quiz. You will be responsible for these formulas. Hopefully the first two are pretty easy. The one for today, angles formed by chords. I'm going to draw a couple examples. I'll tell you when to draw the final one. So I'm just going to show you a chord. Could be, let's say, this chord. Let's say I pick another chord, this chord. Here's an angle. Notice it's not at the center. It's not on the circle. It's kind of just inside the circle somewhere. Here's another option. You could draw, say, this chord and this chord. You could talk about any one of these angles because none of them are at the center and they're not on the circle. They're just floating in the circle somewhere. Pick up your pencil, draw any chord you want. Now draw another chord. The only stipulation is they have to touch. Pick one of the four angles formed and put an X. That angle measurement is going to follow this formula. That angle is going to be half arc A plus arc B. Where's arc A and B? Let me show you. Think of this angle as like a light. If this is a light, it is shining out on the circle, highlighting this arc. That is arc A. Your angle as a light, shining out. Where does it shine to? That's arc A. Arc B is going to be pretty much directly across from it. You'll want to go to the vertical angle with the X that you picked. And the arc that it's shining on is going to be arc B. Technically, you can flip those because you're just adding, and you can add in either order. Today's notes is this new one. So almost every picture, your vertex will be in the circle somewhere. Not here, not there, but here. We're practicing these today, but on a quiz, remember, they're all together. So every question you want to look at, where is the vertex? Let's get started. Change that question mark to an X. You can ignore the P. They're going to be the same. Look at the angle. It's not at the center. It's not on the circle. It's exactly what we talked about for today. It's just kind of floating somewhere in the circle. Let's write the formula that goes with those types. Angle equals 1/2 arc A plus arc B. Let's fill it in. The angle, we don't know. The angle is X. Arc A, look at what the angle is shining on. This angle is shining out towards this arc. 175. Arc B is going to be not touching it, directly across from, so that's going to be 55. Notice your variables by itself. There is no solving. You have already solved. You have already found x. This is your answer. Do we leave our answer like that? No, but that's your answer. Sometimes we try to solve, do something to both sides, add on both sides, divide on both sides. If x is by itself, you're pretty much done. You have your answer. You just need to simplify it if possible. We're going to use a calculator to type it in. Let's practice. Anybody want me to look at their calculator with the half, fraction, typing it in? All right, let's look at number 2. You can ignore the S. Where there's a question mark, put an X. At the question mark, turn that into an X. Just ignore the S. We don't need to find S. Is X my angle? No, X is not an angle. Look where X is. X is one of those arcs. Oopsies. Where is the angle? The angle is in the circle, not at the center. It's that same angle we talked about. Follows this formula, 1/2 arc A plus arc B. The angle, let's fill it in. The angle is not X. We know the angle, it's 120 degrees. Arc A is what that angle is shining out towards. That angle 120 is shining out on arc X. Arc B is the arc across from that. 60. Let's talk about this. Many of you like to distribute. You are very good at it. That is not wrong. You could distribute here. Here's why I wouldn't. If I distribute a half, aren't I going to still have a fraction? Aren't I going to have half X? So distributing doesn't really help me get rid of the half. It's not wrong to distribute it, but it still leaves me with fractions. So instead of distributing a half, let's get rid of the half by multiplying both sides by 2. Two times 120 is 240. We do have to solve this time because X is not by itself. $240 minus 60. So is this question different than the last one? Yeah. Here, my angle was the variable. Here, the arc was the variable, but it doesn't matter. I write this. I fill in the angle if I know it. I fill in the arcs if I know it. And then there will be one unknown that we can solve for. Go ahead and start number 3. You can change the question mark to the X. I like when I look out and I see everybody working, not just sitting there waiting for me. Good job. I wrote that my angle is 85. Arc A is X. Arc B is 70. I could distribute the half, but instead of doing that, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Oh, my God. Just happened. It's probably going to happen again. Multiply by 2. Going to cancel there. Multiply by 2. 85 times 2, 170 equals X. So messy. Subtract 70, 100. Questions? These are fairly basic, easier ones. 5 will be a little harder, but still it's going to follow the same idea. Let's talk for a second about D. Don't move on. Look at number 3. It doesn't ask you for D, but if it did, I want to talk about D. If I were finding angle D, I don't know the arc it's shining on or this arc over here. So I couldn't really use what we taught today to find that angle. However, look here. This is a straight line. Doesn't have to be a diameter. Any straight line is 180 degrees. So if I have 85 already, I can find angle D an easier way. 180 degrees minus 85 will give me angle D. You might have to do that at some point in the notes somewhere. But don't forget, a straight line is 180. If you have one of the angles, subtract it and you've got the other. Go ahead and try number 4. You might notice I don't always write arc A plus arc B because I know which arcs to pick. So whatever the angle is shining on, if that's a light shining up here, and then see how it's touching that arc and that arc? Those aren't B. The one that's not touching the cross arc. Any questions so far on number 4? This one had 5 algebra steps, but the beginning was exactly the same. Figure out which formula you're using. The formula we're using is based on where the vertex is. It's not at the center. It's not on the circle. It is just formed by chords somewhere in the middle of the circle, not necessarily the center. All right, number 5, the last one. Let's look at the question. Find the measure of angle RPS. Trace that out with your pencil. Angle RPS. That angle shines on this arc and this arc, which I don't have and I can't find. So I will not be able to find that angle by the formula that we learned today. If I knew this angle, could I find this one? Yeah. Can I find this one using what we learned today? Do we have the arcs it's shining on? Yes. So this is going to be kind of a two-stepper. We're going to first find this angle using what we learned today. And then we'll go ahead and find our final answer, this angle that they asked us for. So I'm only focusing on this angle for right now. I need you to pause and check something. This is a point where lots of people make a small mistake and it affects your answer. So stop and check something for me. Not really what I have so far, although this is important so far. Here's what I want to see if you did correctly. When you multiplied by 2 on this side of the equal sign, how did you multiply by 2 on this side of the equal sign? That won't work.
C0 on 26 minus 2.
Good. If I just do this, that's only going to be the 2 times the 26. I multiply this side of the equal sign. I have to multiply this whole side. So if you have it, go ahead and fix it. Multiply the whole side by 2. Which will give us 52x minus 4, not minus 2. Go ahead and keep working to get x by itself. Questions so far? If you put 4 for an answer, you get some credit for that. We know it's not our final answer. Is 4 this angle right here? 4 is x. Let's plug 4 in to that angle. 26 times 4 minus 2. Let me know what you get. I'm plugging 4 into this angle. Kaylee, let me know what you get. I think she's got it. Yeah. If you put 102 as your final answer, you get some credit for that. But remember, our final answer is, got to answer this question. The measure of angle RPS. Together, these make a straight line, 180. So subtract 102. Our final answer is 78. All right, the rest of the time is homework time.